Welcome back. Please support us with powerful like and subscribe. Your support is important. Thanks a lot. Friday morning begins with a tale of two very different seasons unfolding across Canada. While parts of Western Canada wake up to spring-like warmth under strong high pressure, much of central and eastern Canada is bracing for an active winter system that will bring snow, strong winds, and a sharp return of Arctic cold as we move through the day and into the weekend. Now, you may have heard that some of Canada's groundhogs predicted an early spring this year. But as we've learned many times before, winter doesn't take its cues from folklore. And this forecast is a perfect reminder that winter is far from finished. Let's start Friday morning in Western Canada, where high pressure remains firmly in control. Across southern British Columbia and Alberta, mild Pacific air continues to dominate. Temperatures here are running well above seasonal averages, in some cases by 10 to 16 degrees Celsius. Cities along the south coast and into southern Alberta are enjoying conditions that feel more like late March than early February, with dry weather, sunshine, and light winds. This ridge of high pressure has been the key driver in shaping the national weather pattern. Earlier in the week, it acted like a wall, deflecting a Pacific storm system northward rather than allowing it to move inland across southern British Columbia. Instead, that storm was forced toward the north coast and into the Yukon, where it brought cloud, snow, and unsettled conditions. As that system moved inland, its moisture and energy reorganized over the Northwest Territories. By midweek, snowfall had already spread into parts of the northeastern prairies, laying the groundwork for the much larger system now affecting the rest of the country. As we move into Friday morning, the focus shifts eastward. The low-pressure system continues its journey southeast, descending toward the Great Lakes. Northern Ontario is the first region to feel its impact today, with snow spreading in during the morning hours. Snowfall rates will generally be light to moderate at first, but steady enough to create snow-covered roads and reduced visibility, especially on highways and rural routes. As the day progresses, this system strengthens slightly as it taps into additional moisture. By Friday afternoon, snow expands farther south into southern Ontario, including areas near the Greater Toronto Area, while also spreading eastward into Quebec. This timing means both the morning and afternoon periods could be affected by deteriorating travel conditions, particularly as winds begin to increase. Southern and eastern Ontario will see snowfall totals generally in the range of 3 to 5 centimeters, but locally higher amounts of 5 to 10 centimeters are possible outside the GTA, especially toward Lake Huron and across parts of eastern Ontario. Northern Ontario could see similar or slightly higher totals, depending on how the system tracks. But snowfall alone isn't the biggest concern with this system. The real story unfolds later Friday afternoon and into the evening as a strong cold front sweeps through behind the low. This front marks the arrival of a fresh Arctic air mass dropping south from the far north. As the front moves through, conditions can change rapidly. Calm or lightly falling snow can quickly turn into intense snow bursts accompanied by gusty winds. In some areas, a brief but powerful frontal snow squall may develop, leading to sharply reduced visibility and near whiteout conditions for short periods of time. For commuters heading home Friday evening, especially across southern Ontario and the GTA, this timing could be problematic. Visibility may drop quickly, roads could become snow-covered in minutes, and sudden gusts of wind may make driving difficult, particularly on exposed highways and open rural roads. Behind the front, winds strengthen significantly. Gusts of 40 to 60 km per hour are expected, with stronger gusts possible along lockshores. These winds will pick up newly fallen snow, creating blowing and drifting conditions even after the snowfall itself begins to taper off. As colder air continues to pour in Friday night, temperatures will fall rapidly. In southern Ontario, readings are expected to drop to around -20 degrees Celsius overnight, with wind chills plunging into the -30s. Northern Ontario will be even colder, with temperatures falling to -25 or lower and wind chills reaching between -30 and -40. This cold air will linger into the weekend. Saturday will feel bitter across much of Ontario and Quebec, with daytime highs struggling in the mid to upper -teens. Even with sunshine, the strong winds will keep wind chills dangerously low, making it feel much colder than the thermometer suggests. As the Arctic air settles in, lake effect snow becomes a concern, especially downwind of the unfrozen portions of Lake Huron. Cold air moving over relatively warmer lake waters can generate localized snow squalls, producing additional accumulations in snowbelt regions. These lake effect bands can be persistent and difficult to predict precisely, meaning some communities could see significantly more snow than surrounding areas. Meanwhile, the storm system continues its eastward trek. By Friday night into Saturday, snow spreads farther into Quebec, affecting both southern and eastern regions. Accumulations here will vary, but snow-covered roads and slippery conditions are likely, particularly as winds increase behind the system. By the weekend, the system reaches its final stop in Atlantic Canada. Snow is expected to move through the region Saturday and into Sunday, once again bringing wintry conditions to parts of the Maritimes and Newfoundland. Gusty winds along the coast could further reduce visibility and create blowing snow, especially in exposed areas. While eastern Canada deals with snow and cold, western Canada continues to enjoy a very different story, at least for now. Southern British Columbia and Alberta remain under the influence of milder air, with temperatures well above seasonal norms through the end of the week. However, changes are on the horizon. Looking ahead to the second week of February, a major shift in the overall weather pattern is expected across Canada. The blocking pattern that has been locked in over Alaska is forecast to break down. This is a significant development, because it effectively shuts down the cross-polar flow that has been delivering repeated blasts of Arctic air into central and eastern Canada. As that blocking weakens, milder Pacific air will have a much easier time spreading eastward across the country. This should lead to a noticeable moderation in temperatures across many regions next week and into mid-February. For much of Canada, including the Prairies, Ontario, and Quebec, the second and third weeks of February are expected to be much milder than what we're experiencing now. That doesn't necessarily mean spring arrives early, but it does suggest a break from the extreme cold. That said, not everyone will warm up equally. British Columbia is expected to trend cooler, closer to seasonal norms, as the ridge weakens and more typical Pacific systems move through. Meanwhile, blocking over Greenland may continue to interfere with a consistent warm-up across southern Ontario and Quebec, keeping temperatures from rising too dramatically. Another important point to note is that milder patterns often come with more active weather. As warmer air tries to push north while colder air lingers, the setup becomes favorable for messy and potentially significant storms. This could mean a mix of snow, freezing rain, and rain events as we move deeper into February. So while winter isn't over yet, and there may still be impactful storms ahead, there is encouraging news for those tired of extreme cold. It appears increasingly unlikely that temperatures will drop as low again this season as what is expected this weekend across Ontario and Quebec. For now, though, the message is clear. Friday and the weekend ahead will be challenging across much of central and eastern Canada. Snow, strong winds, and dangerous wind chills will combine to create hazardous travel and uncomfortable conditions. If you have plans, especially on Friday afternoon or evening, stay informed, check road conditions, and be prepared for rapidly changing weather. We'll continue to track this system closely and keep you updated as conditions evolve across the country.